Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's get it. So welcome everyone to another episode of We Got Next. I'm one of your co-hosts, Christian Hayes, aka Shifty, with my boy Steven at Steven_Springs on Twitter. And before we get into a lot of the things, Steven, what you got or what have you been talking about on the Quick Slants?
So real quick, sad news today. So I follow, obviously, I follow Penn State recruiting pretty heavily. And there's a kid who was just on campus this weekend. His name is Lamar Patterson. He goes to St. Francis down in Baltimore. He actually was killed in a car accident this morning. 17. He was class of 2023. So I don't know him, but I follow these kids, these high school kids, during the recruiting process when they come on Penn State's radar. So condolences to his family. That's absolutely tragic. I just found out about it maybe like 15 minutes ago before we came on. So, and he was just tweeting about his trip to Penn State and everything, and posted all of the recruiting photos and edits and everything. So, it's just sad all around. So condolences to his family and everything, and just hate to see it. But trying to shift gears. This week will be a Penn State focused episode of the Quick Slants. Last week was kind of more or less what we talked about on our show last week. Barry Bonds talk, NFL talk, NBA, hockey. This week's going to be, like I said, all Penn State focused with recruiting. Kids who are on campus. They just signed 2 new kids to finish out the class of 2022. Today was the second signing period. I guess they have one in December. This was the famous one. This is like the one that everyone used to talk about, and the build up for this one was crazy, and all the things that we saw happen in December always happened today, and it was like the biggest day of the year for high school football. And now there's multiple big days of the year, and Penn State had junior day over the weekend, and so I think I've touched on it before. We have some early enrollees who are on campus right now. Been on campus for 2 or 3 weeks or so. So we're going to talk about that, what those guys are going to look forward to coming into spring practice, chances of them playing, all that kind of good stuff. And then next week we'll bounce back into, I'll touch on the NFL because obviously a lot going on with that. But and then next week will be a lot of Super Bowl talk because it's going to be the following weekend. So it'll be a Penn State focused episode this week. And then next week we'll bounce back into the other world of sports topics.
So before we continue going forward, I know a lot of people always put in the different subheadings so when things are happening. So in the beginning, it'll be the crypto talk and the fast break. Then we'll go into sports. Then we'll do our closeout. So if you want, you can skip through everything to end up figuring out which part ends up suiting you the best. So we always start off with the fast break. So this one, I don't know if Steven's seen, but we'll end up just trying.
So far, I haven't seen a lot of the ones that you've been posting, which is good because you get a nice natural raw reaction.
Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, this girl, yeah. No.
So since Steven has seen this, we're not gonna go with this one then, and we're gonna go with the one. Have you seen this one?
I've seen the thumbnail, but I haven't seen the actual video.
So this is how all black games always happen to be. First off, they're in a gym.
Yeah. What? Yo, I love the caption too. I love the caption. Oh my guy, dang dude.
But
we just speaking of little kids, before we get into this one, speaking of little kids, we just signed Mason up for T-ball heading into April. So he was, I think I've mentioned it to you before. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or on the Quick Slants, but he has childhood asthma, and he's allergic to our dog. So the combination of the two was really bad, and we actually had to get rid of our dog. Kept it in the family, so that wasn't the worst thing in the world. But so he was doing gymnastics, but we had to take him out of it to kind of give him a little break and let his body reset a little bit, so he wasn't always active all the time. But he does soccer now, which isn't as intense as gymnastics, because they're just running around trying to kick a ball. But he's gonna start T-ball in April. So I took him to Dick's over the last weekend. Tried to just like look at, what they had and what would fit him, and what we needed to look at, smaller size and everything. I mean, he turns 3 in March, so like nothing fits him. And like the bats are all as big as he is, basically, like heavy as shit. Like, and there was a police officer in Dick's, like at the front door. I don't know if they were just taking people coming in with masks and everything. But I gave Mason a bat to see how big it was on him or how small it would be. I turned around and go get another bat. And I turned around again. He was about to swing and knock out the police officer. And I was like, my guy, no. So I had to like dive at him to like, he was like, he didn't, it wasn't going to be intentional, but he was like just swinging it around the police officer. So, I mean, that would have been a good story to tell people. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the T-ball and having that same thought of, okay, Mason's gonna pay off our mortgage in 16, 17 years. So yeah, let's get it.
That's
and plenty of updates coming about as we get closer to that. So that's something to look forward to.
So he says that his son has childhood asthma, but if you go on his Twitter feed, you'll see him sliding down steps, bouncing on furniture.
Does at home. So the dude's just like out of control.
So we got this video and then we'll go into the crypto thing. It's something that we both saw, but the first time I think I saw it is when I was really shocked. And the person you need to pay attention to is this guy. I don't care about anybody else in the whole thing. He is any human being's natural reaction to a rock, paper, scissors. And they're all trying to do the math on this.
Yeah, and like everyone's too drunk already to even realize what was going on.
Oh,
yo. I wouldn't even know what to say at that point. I'm like, I would just be those two guys. I wouldn't even know what to say.
No.
That's like when I met those Siamese twins.
I was thinking of that. Yeah.
Yo, bro, I get asked about that once a month.
Oh, I believe it.
And people just like my boys will hit me up, be like, "Yo, do you still have that picture?" And like everyone knows, I got that picture. I got it saved in my favorites. So like,
delete it.
everyone knows I got that picture. Like that's a story. That's a story for another time. But go on with your crypto.
So just going into the crypto stuff, because we have a lot in terms of cryptocurrency, but we also have a lot of big things in the sports world. So big thing right now is, as everyone can tell, in terms of stocks and cryptocurrency, things have started to go up some. There's still going to be some volatility and instability just because the Fed has come out saying that more than likely rates will start to end up increasing come March. So of course, people are in the middle. Trying to figure out, does that mean we should start investing more into things, or should we end up just keeping our money on the side? Personally, me, in terms of stocks and cryptocurrency, not financial advice. It's just my opinions. Whatever you guys do, it's your own ideas. But what I have done is I do keep some on the side, even when I was taking stock market classes and we invested for the George Mason Dow endowment. We always wanted to keep a little bit on the side. Yes, they always say put everything in stocks, but what is a financial advisor and a hedge fund going to tell you to do? Put the shit all in stocks and stuff so they can make money. They're not going to make money off of you if you just keep it on the side, because there's no increase. They make money if your account continues to increase. So something I always tell everybody, even if you look on my Twitter, don't put everything in. The best way to do it, a lot of people say DCA, which is dollar cost averaging. If you guys make sure to end up slowly putting money into cryptocurrency or stocks, that's the best way to end up going about it. Bitcoin is currently sitting at 36,000. Its all-time high was 69,000. And if you just divide that in half, we're sitting right around the halfway point. So around the 30,000 to 37,000 area is a good point for you guys to get involved, but slowly put some in. And that's what I've been doing. What I do for the Shift Movement Reserve is I'll put some in there. Then I end up just putting some in at like medium to low risk. Low cap cryptocurrencies. And then same thing with the stock market. We'll go into the stock market in a second. But some news that I wanted to bring it up on the cryptocurrency side. So Jack Dorsey, as everyone knows, who was the former CEO of Twitter, he stepped down in that role and he now focuses fully on Square, also known as Block. So what he ended up coming out and saying is he's creating a decentralized exchange. That's a big thing because Jack Dorsey is putting all of his resources and assets into the cryptocurrency and blockchain sphere, which is something very important when you see not only just regular celebrities and stuff getting involved, but you see someone such as Jack Dorsey, who is focusing a lot on cryptocurrency. So that's the first thing I wanted to end up bringing up. Another thing I wanted to just let everybody know about is Leaf Zero did come out last week. They listed, as I mentioned to you all, that is one that I had on my radar and I wanted to get into it. And so the initial price was 10 cents. That was not sitting at 10 cents for a long time because more liquidity started getting in, the market cap started increasing. I got in at different points. So just for full transparency, I got in around 60 cents. I got in again around 75 cents. And right now I've been just dollar cost averaging around the $1.25 and $1.30. And then I did get one at $1.75. But having it at different price points allows your average to be lower instead of me getting on everything at $1.75. So this is something that I view not just right now, but I view in time, it'll be sitting here within like the top 15. So you see some of the other big name layer one blockchains, such as Avalanche, which is at number 12 at 16 billion. You have Polkadot, which is at number 9. You have Solana, which is at number 7. And then you also have Cosmos at number 21. I believe within time, Leaf Zero can also
shout out Shiba Inu. Shout out the squad up. Let's go.
So it's real funny. Speaking of Shiba Inu, that Steven brought that up because a lot of people were talking about Shiba Inu was going to overtake Doge. And that's just
of course they are.
Talk about Ethereum was going to overtake Bitcoin. It won't happen because those communities are so strong. And a lot of people just keep their money in Doge. I can't even tell you that I have numerous people always come up to me to just ask about Doge and Shiba Inu. It just shows you that it's still so new. If people are still asking about it, it's not one of those things that are normal conversations. They genuinely are curious about those. The other one that came out that I mentioned on Twitter was Panther Protocol, which is a layer 2 privacy scaling on top of Ethereum. And they just came out not too long ago, like a day or two ago. The reason why it's a big thing is their initial price one was supposed to be 60 cents. But right before the listing, they started sending out their coins to like some of their seed investors and some of their public sale investors. And since they got the coins right before the listing, they all sold at the listing. So the price dropped to all the way down to 17 cents. And now it's currently sitting around 25 to 30 cents. So this is one that I do have on my radar. It's something that I have brought up and I do like. They have staking at a 200% APY. It sounds like a lot, but it's not a stable APY. Plus, it's not going to be the whole year. So anyone that thinks you're going to be able to have 200% the whole year, that's damn near impossible because as more liquidity starts coming in to these different pools, the APY starts to go down. So you're better off getting in when nobody's really in so that you can end up earning a higher interest back on it. The next one I wanted to bring up was Phantom Wallet. So Phantom Wallet is big on the Solana blockchain. And so Phantom Wallet is what I use for my Solana NFTs. I'll get into that in a little bit, potentially in a second, but Phantom just had a seed round and they raised $109 million, which is big because they also just end up coming out with their mobile app. And you did see the price of Solana increase. So earlier in the week, Solana was in between $85 to $90. And if you guys look here, Solana is in at 101. It was not too long ago at over $108. So that is big. So kudos goes out to Solana and Phantom Wallet because Phantom Wallet is one that will continue to be important as we go forward. I trust it. Everything's trustable to an extent. You just have to see how they are when like hacks end up coming along. Another one is Ftx Exchange. So Ftx, you all know, is the Ftx Arena. They do a lot for the Miami Heat. They do a lot for Florida. And they have their patches on various different sports. And then they're also getting into different racing stuff. The big thing about Ftx is they just reached a valuation of $32 billion. So that's huge for them and what they're continuing to do because you all hear about crypto.com, you hear about Coinbase, Gemini, and Ftx. They're all trying to be players in this space for a long time to come. So big ups to Ftx because they're one that is doing things much differently. They're based on Solana. So they do a lot of Solana NFTs. And speaking of Solana NFTs and Ftx, Coachella is giving out keys that are going to be out this weekend. And what it'll be is if you can end up getting one of the Solana keys, you will get lifetime access to different perks that come along with like Coachella events. So they're trying to end up getting real world people involved in the cryptocurrency space, not just like cryptocurrency enthusiasts. So this is something that I think could bode as potential for Solana, because you'll need Solana to end up purchasing these different Coachella keys when they do come out. There's different tiers to them as well, so be on the lookout for that. You can check that out if you go on my Twitter. A lot of this stuff is there. I just like to give you guys the overview of it all. Final three things that I want to bring up, and we'll also segue this into the stocks, but Google is doing a 20-to-1 stock split. So what a stock split means, a lot of times this will happen if a stock is too high and it's far out of reach for people, or if a company views it as better off for some of their investors, because they'll end up getting more. So what happens is, if you have one stock right now, you'll end up getting 20 of the stock, because they'll end up splitting, which it says in the name. They have not announced when it'll happen yet, and they have not announced how much the price will be. So it's important, because you started to see the price run up. It actually ran up not too long ago yesterday they had earnings, and it ran up to over $3,000. So that was something that was important, that it was at a price of $3,000. Always just keep in mind of the outstanding shares, which is the important part of this all. So we can end up going here, and you'll end up seeing it. So now it's sitting at, before the close it was 29.60, and then after the close, after hours, is 29.10. And you can just tell that a lot of this is because you see the run up yesterday. It was sitting at 27.52 right before the close, and then right after the close, it ran up all the way to around 29.48. And that's just off of people hearing about the news. The news did not happen at 4:10. They end up writing transcripts out, and then people get a hold of it and they pass it around, and that's how that ends up happening. And as you can tell today, the day high was 30.30. If you got in at 30.30, you might be fine. You're going to hold it longer term, because people are going to get in once the price goes down. I can tell you, I know a good amount of people that when they see the price going lower, they're going to get in. It's a mental thing for a lot of people. You see a price of $3,000 compared to a price of $10, and you're going to go with the thing that's $10 instead of looking at what the market cap is and things of that nature that are more important. So when the price goes lower, just like Tesla did and what Apple did, what these companies do is they'll do stock splits and lower the price. Tesla was sitting at over $1,000 at a stock split, came down to $200, $300, and it ran right back up to $1,000. It's very good for the market cap as well, because people see a low number and they want to put money into it. Ones that you can look out for that they might do it if it gets to a certain price, Chipotle and Shopify. So those are two other ones. And I'm not saying it's going to happen this year. This is just when you do research and just see what the price is normally at. So Chipotle's price is set at over 1,400. These prices at over 1,400, you have to look at the outstanding shares that they have. So shares outstanding is 28 million, and they only have a valuation of $41 billion, which is a lot. But then when you end up comparing that to someone such as Microsoft, you'll end up seeing the difference in terms of like outstanding shares and everything. So their closing price was 313, but they have over 7.5 billion shares outstanding, which is the difference. You have so many more shares that are outstanding, which also makes it tougher for the price to increase when you have a market cap of 2.35 trillion. They don't have billion, they have trillion. So that's another important thing when it comes to all of this for everyone to end up just looking out. The final things I want to bring up to everyone is Clonex. And we brought this up before, but I'll just bring it up again, because last time we talked, they were sitting at around 10 ETH. And when I was talking to Alts and a couple other people in the Clonex army, we did see the price of it go up to over 19 ETH at one point. So for everyone out there, this is the company that was acquired by Nike as well. So that's what's important. This is just some of the artwork that they end up doing. And it is really good designs when you end up seeing it, especially when people have seen like Bored Apes and stuff. Personally, I like the ones that have like the Medusa hair and things, and they have pods that go along with it. So this is just something for everyone out there. This is what OpenSea is. And then you can end up finding another one that I'm really excited for, which is called Yaku. That's going to be on Solana with those NFTs. So they're going to be on the Magic Eden Launchpad. So just pay attention to those two over there. And final thing is LeBron James and the LeBron James Foundation did reach a partnership deal with Crypto.com, which is going to allow the children in Akron to have opportunities to get involved and understand Web3 and also what blockchain is. And they'll also help them get opportunities in terms of the space. LeBron James has been on record, which me personally, I believe some of this has to do with Genie is like, hey, LeBron, they just agreed to be in the crypto.com arena. I think we need to do something. Who better than you to help out with this? All these different companies that are in cryptocurrency, you went with the one that's named your arena. So you can just think about how the cards end up folding with that and them saying, let's end up trying to get this deal done and work it out. I do think it is promising and it does help. FTX works with Tom Brady. You also have like Saquon that's in the space with different ones. So you're trying to figure out who'd end up working with. Kate Cunningham is working with BlockFi. Personally, Crypto.com has the edge if you're working with LeBron. But that's what I wanted to say there. Just to end everything, the crypto picks for February, I have Rose, which is Oasis Protocol, and that's the one in the top 100. So Oasis Network. The next one I have UFO Gaming. This is one I've been in for a while. The next one is TLOS, and then I have XDeFi, and the final one is GTH. So that is the stock picks for February. January wasn't great, but Gate.io did hold up everything because they did not fall with the rest of the market. They always stayed above the price that I got in at. So that's everything from the cryptocurrency side. In terms of other monetary things, we're going to segue now over into sports. And the first one, I told Stephen we'd bring it up, but I think it's a good time to bring it up. So Trinity Rodman just signed a deal. She's 19 years old, just signed a deal with the Washington Spirit. And the part that I want to bring up with this is it's a 4-year guaranteed $1.1 million contract, which is $275,000 per year when you break it down. I have multiple thoughts, and then I'll ask Stephen his thoughts. The big thing is I'm happy that she got that much, especially because women's soccer is below the WNBA. So for her to make that much, I am happy. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of everything, but they just did get another owner. So they are trying to do something. You have other people in the space that are trying to end up being owners with women's soccer. I think women's soccer, I would probably watch before women's basketball. Sorry, not sorry, really. But what are your thoughts?
I think
so Stephen has to fix his microphone, but what I will end up saying is in terms of Stephen's thoughts, he very much is
all right.
Strong-minded with it. And go, Stephen.
Wait, hang on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. What I was saying was in the grand scheme of things, it helps develop women's sports by putting it on the map for this. But like, it's a very small map. And we talked about it last week. Like, it's just like if it doesn't generate that kind of revenue, the product itself, obviously, like it's going to be tough to pay them what they think that they're worth or what they should earn. So like this is a step in the right direction for sure. And you know, the U.S. women's soccer team has had a ton more success than the men's soccer team. Absolutely. So like, but like again, it's how many people are actually going to watch, and like how many people are actually going to know that this is going on. You know, if one of the dudes on the men's team got a 4-year, $10 million deal or whatever, it'd be people would be talking about it.
Yeah.
But they would probably be talking about it for lesser reasons because like men's soccer, it's not like U.S. fans don't look forward to the men's cup, the men's soccer because we're never in it. So like, you know, the women's soccer team, they're in the World Cup and they compete like with the best of the best. But like, you know, it's like people will follow men's soccer throughout the year and over the years leading up to the World Cup, just because like it gets more coverage. But then people will only follow the women's soccer team when A, the World Cup happens, or B, there's some sort of, you know, allegations going on.
Yeah.
Which sucks but like that's just how it is. Again, like I said, the women's soccer team is way more competitive in the across the globe. So they probably should make more, but it's just like what does your product do for everybody else? And like not much. Which same thing with the WNBA. Like they're obviously elite athletes. Like they are the best of the best in the world, and they dominate every other country in the entire world. So, but it's like, am I going to sit back and watch a WNBA game? No, I'm probably not. Now, if they could dunk and throw it off the glass and do shit like that every night, yeah, I'd probably watch. But like they don't, so like I'm probably not going to watch. But like it's been like that for a long time. They also don't get media coverage unless there's a buzzer beater, unless it's the WNBA finals, which by the way, no one knows when that is.
No.
Like everybody knows when
Candace won, and I didn't even know.
Yeah, everybody knows that when the NBA finals are. Like basketball fans know that. They know they know when the fucking draft is.
Yeah.
And more fans watch. Well, this might not be true, but just continuing down this road. More fans watch the NBA Summer League, including myself, than a WNBA regular season or postseason game. I haven't watched a WNBA game in, I honestly can't even tell you when. I've watched more women's college women's basketball, like the Final Four, because UConn is like that product is good because they're always winning, and like they're like 36-0, 38-0, going for that undefeated season. But it's like if they lose like in like the second round of the tournament and like they're 36-1 and there's no other undefeated teams, why not go watch it? Because there's no intrigue in it. Yeah, because
overseas, like, I remember when they used to Tarasi and Subir, they used to go overseas to play in the summer. Griner would go overseas and play in the summer because they, one, made more money doing that, and two, other places care. I feel in America they suppress certain sports, and men's and women, but especially like women's basketball, women's soccer, men's soccer. You can put in that too, and it's like these sports they don't care as much about. You're gonna put football up there. You're gonna put basketball up there. Baseball, America hasn't really made up their mind on how you end up feeling about it. Hockey, if you're up north, you care about it way more. I promise you go to Texas, they are not talking about the next. The only sport I think in North American sports, we're just talking about that. The only sport I think in North American sports that the women's game is more popular than the men's game is gymnastics. Like, I mean, and aside from all of the negative things that happen in women's gymnastics, and if you don't know what goes on in women's gymnastics, then you've been living under a rock for the last 30, 40 years. But like come Olympics time, because we know that we're good at it. Yeah. Like, and I think I honestly couldn't tell you if the men's gymnastics team is good or not, but like put tennis in there too.
You think women's tennis is more popular than men's tennis?
It depends on who is in it. Because right now, I think people are going to watch for Osaka and when the Williams sisters were good. And then when Coco Gauff was in there. I remember when Maria Sharapova was there. But
I don't think you like. I think now that my bad, my fault. I almost had to slip up on that one. The Williams sisters, now that they're like, they're not kind of starting, like they're starting to like, yeah, like mid 2000s or like late 2000s. Yeah, sure, they were it. But I think now it's like you got Osaka and like you have
she's
like
not playing all the time.
Like you have the Williams sisters, but like they like especially Serena, like she was dominant. Like she won everything. And Osaka is not. Now, if she starts in that run, she's still super young, obviously, so she has a ways to go. But Serena Williams, even Venus Williams, was still dominating at this point. But I think in men's tennis, I think when you had guys like Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi, like and Andy Roddick, like you had guys like that, like American dudes like playing tennis, that was obviously important. Now, if you're like a true sports fan like we are, like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I watch every tennis match. I also don't know how the scoring goes still. I've been trying to figure it out for 20 years, bro. I still have no fucking clue. Like, I think now I'm starting to like understand each point, but like, I need to like sit down and watch it and like, you know, and understand how it goes. But that's besides the point. That's on me. But like, you watch it because there's 3 of the best tennis players ever right now. Mm-hmm. Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Rafael Nadal, who just won. But I forget what he did. I mean, see, I don't even know what he just won, but like, it doesn't matter because he just won, and like, I know about it because he's one of the best tennis players. Yes, yeah, that was strange, but yeah, I couldn't do like, bro. I can barely wear a watch like to work. Like, I hate wearing watches. I don't know about you, but I hate wearing watches.
It's not the easiest
unless it's open. Like, once, like, I'll wear a watch for special occasions. Mm-hmm. If I want to show out, I'll wear a watch. But that's besides the point. But like, I know he won because like I follow along with it. But like, I couldn't tell you who won the French Open on the women's side, or like who won the last, you know, Grand Slam, or for anything in women's tennis, because it's just like there's no dominant figure. And we have all the names in the WNBA, and just going back to that, like Sue Bird's coming back, and you know, who's the girl?
I know who you're trying to say. The one that just got the Supermax contract.
Yeah.
Breanna Stewart.
Yeah. And she's just coming off a bunch of injuries. Candace Parker. Everybody knows who Candace Parker is. Diana Taurasi. Sue Bird's coming back for another year. You know, shout out to her.
Shout out.
You know, when like all those, we know them because we follow them, but it's like there's like in tennis specifically, there's no dominant player. But back to my point, I think women's gymnastics is probably the most popular women's sport. That's more popular than the men's sport, and especially in the US. Because like when the Olympics come around, when the Summer Olympics come around, everybody wants to watch basketball and like watch the US dominate everybody, because we always do. Mm-hmm. But like, everyone wants to see those 4 or 5 US gymnastics girls dominate the entire world again.
Yeah.
You know, so, and there's always a new crop of them coming around. There's always like the next Simone Biles or the next so and so. So I mean, that's
when they make their money too. That's what they do it for.
Yeah. So. And I guess women's volleyball too, on a certain level for college, I think is more talked about than men's, at least from like my perspective, just, you know, being a Penn State fan.
You went to the number 1 ranked women's volleyball team. So.
Yeah. I mean, like when I was in high school, at end of high school and on into college, Penn State won 4 straight national titles, won like 100+ matches in a row. So yeah, I mean, women's volleyball was dominant, but like I knew about it. But yeah, I think women's gymnastics is by far the most popular women's sport over its counterpart of the men's sport.
Mm-hmm. So the other story, since we're getting into deep-rooted issues and things, I was going to talk about Draymond, but we're going to talk about Brian Flores. So can you give people a background and then go into the story?
Oh, you mean the Rosa Parks of the NFL?
God, like that was just so bad. People are.
Am I allowed to say that? Do I have the card to say that?
This man is not the Rosa Parks.
So Brian Flores, former head coach, unjustifiably fired by the Miami Dolphins, had 2 winning seasons in a row. I think he was 10-6 last year, and he was 10-8 this year, I believe, or 9-8 this year. It was the first winning season that the Dolphins have had in like almost 2 decades. So he got fired. He's a black head coach. That's the reason why we're talking about it. Got fired like a handful of weeks ago. And there's a rule in place for the NFL that's called the Rooney Rule, owners of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which basically states, paraphrasing what it says, but if you're going through the hiring process of hiring a new head coach, which teams do left and right in the offseason, you need to at least interview a minority head coach. Like, that shouldn't be a rule. Mm-hmm. Like, you should just and there's it's not a slippery slope, but like at the same time, it's like you don't want to just hire a black head coach or a minority head coach just because. Like, they have to be a good candidate. They have to be what you want for your organization, what you want your players to follow as a head coach. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, for example, like looking back on it, like a lot of people were like, well, Tomlin got hired because of the Rooney Rule. It's like, well, I mean, Tomlin's proven that he's a legit head coach and one of the better head coaches of the last 15, 20 years, right? So there's that. But now Brian Flores is for basically, basically, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Basically, there being systemic racism, shocker, in a basically a quote unquote white owned sport in the hiring process, which, like, again, that's not like breaking news or anything. I mean, if you've been following the history of the world for the last, couple thousands of years, hundreds of years, it's been a thing. So, and then a lot more came out that their owner was going to pay him $100,000 for him to tank, which people who don't know what tanking means in sports, it's like you're basically throwing the game to try and get the best overall draft pick, which happens. Well, I don't say it happens, but like it's been known to have happened in the NBA, primarily in the NBA. 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers are the poster team for the tanking. But they were going to pay him $100,000 per loss if he were to tank, get the number one overall pick, I think in 2019 or so, or 2020, which he didn't do. Now, as there was jokes on Twitter last night, like $100,000 for a loss. Yeah, like we're going to be 0-16. There was like, memes about and everything. Like, sure, like $100,000 for 16 losses. Yeah, sign me up for that, right? Like, no doubt, I can coach that. But like, like that didn't happen. And the other funny part was, well, none of this is funny, but like the funny part about this was former Browns head coach Hugh Jackson comes in and says their owner to like basically said him the same thing, like, we'll pay you for the losses. Like, all right, let's not get carried away, bro. You're coaching the Browns, like y'all are just gonna lose games anyways.
Exactly.
My man was 1-31. So like either he got paid a lot or like more than 100K, or like he was just not a good coach and the Browns were that bad. And the Browns have been bad for a while, so like it's probably the second of the two. But there's just like a lot going on with this Brian Flores thing, and it's a class action lawsuit. Who knows what's going to happen with this? I don't think anything's going to happen with this. Now, the biggest thing is he might be smearing his name by doing this, and he might not get a head coaching gig or a head coaching interview in the NFL ever again, because he's going after the NFL, and unless you're Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, or the New England Patriots, you're not going to win. So, I mean, again, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that like there should be more black head coaches in the NFL. I think that's a given, but it shouldn't just be like, oh, Christian, let's hire you. Like, you fit the mold. Let's bring him in. Let's go. Like, I'm sure there are plenty of candidates, qualified candidates for NFL head coaching jobs. Like, we see it all the time. Like, we see it all the time where the guy who gets hired is dog shit and is gone after 2 seasons. And then you look back, we're like, well, so-and-so, a black head coach was a candidate. If they would have gone with him, maybe they would be winning right now. Like, we obviously don't know like how that's going to go. You know what I mean? Like, so the team shouldn't hire them just to hire them. They have to be good candidates. And if you follow the NFL, there's plenty of good candidates that are black head coaches or coaches that are minorities. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I know we've like touched on it, but like I don't think we need to, because like I think we both agree that like this shouldn't be a thing. But like every owner, I think, other than the owner for the Jags, correct, is white. Is a white billionaire. So like, yeah, you're not going to have many black head coaches in the league.
So my first thoughts are, one person that's irrelevant to this whole story is Hugh Jackson. Hugh
Yeah,
Jackson wasn't
my guy just wanted to put his name out there one more time. Like, yo, they paid me for losses too. Nah, bro, y'all just suck.
Hugh Jackson in his coaching career was 11-44 in the NFL. 11-44-1. That is terrible. With a tie, that is a 205 win percentage. That's not good at all. Like, so
that's about what we would do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, easily that could happen.
Yeah.
The big thing about this is, I think, one, Brian Flores came on the scene. I saw him. What gravitated me to him was during draft day, when you saw him just in the basement being like a wholesome dad, like the kids are down there chilling too, doing like picks and stuff. I like that. And then he made the team better. It's a little bit similar to me, not saying the Dolphins are going to be this team, but it's a little bit similar to how Mark Jackson helped build the team up, and then Steve Kerr came in there and they won championships and stuff. Mm-hmm. But Steph Curry and Klay Thompson always give credit to Mark Jackson. The difference is, in the NBA, there are more Black head coaches, and they also stay there a decent amount, not even just Black, minority head coaches, because like Spoelstra is chilling in Miami. He will continue doing that. He's very similar, I would say, to Mike Tomlin in terms of like how long they've just been there, and they almost damn near have it unless they do some stupid shit. But Mike Tomlin is that person that a lot of teams wish that they can get, but they don't necessarily give them as many opportunities. And I wouldn't just say minority coaches, I would say minority and coaches under 40, because I was looking at that when they were bringing up like Zach Taylor and Sean McVay, and how everyone doesn't get those chances. They kind of just cycle around the same coaches over and over.
Let me say this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask it to you like this. Mm-hmm. If you look at it, like, is it like, do you think it's because like, I don't know how I'm going to phrase this or how this is going to sound when it comes out, but here we go. Do you think it's because a lot of like white football players are like, they don't have as long of careers, or like their careers end maybe after college? Because obviously the NFL is like, what? I mean, it's what's the percentage of Black players in the NFL? Like it's a lot.
Yeah, they play the positions that get hurt the most, and that's another.
But like, do you think like they just like come out of college and like they might just like jump right into coaching? Do you think that has anything to do with it? Where like these dudes are starting off and like, you know, working in like grad assistants in college, and just like you be able to learn from other coaches, and like being able to be in that position of like a coaching role with like they're developing earlier and earlier, whereas maybe like minority players are like, you know, still going on with their careers and they're having, you know, 10-12 year careers, and like, and then they get into coaching. Now obviously the guys who are playing right now, I think any one of them with like a couple years could jump out of the league and be a coach. Like, no questions about it. They know the game, they understand it. You know, they're relatable dudes who are as young as their players. I feel like that could, but like Sean McVay, I think only played a minute of college ball. Like he was in, like he was like, same with a dude from the Packers, Brian LaFleur. Same thing with Kyle Shanahan. That was different. His dad, you know, was a
good coach.
Dudes like that.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like that type of situation that can like expand why there's so much?
So as Steven has trouble with his mic, what I will end up saying is I don't even think
you got me though.
Yeah, I don't think it's experience. I think it's more so in terms of general managers and owners. It's just like any company. If you don't have minority people at the top, how are you going to expect it at the bottom? Like it has to be.
But did what I say make sense though? Yeah, like how those dudes start super early, and maybe they like play a couple minutes in college, and then they get out of it, and then they start, you know, being grad assistants and things of that nature, and just get those opportunities to jump into the coaching world a lot more. Like, I mean, it shouldn't matter. Like if you're a capable coach and you can relate to the players and you can draw up it's like Becky Hammond. Like Becky Hammond's going to be head coach in the NBA soon.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Like she's going to get that opportunity sooner rather than later. But the reason why is because she's a capable coach. Like if you ask the Spurs players who've been around them, and I've seen the interviews, they all love her because she can relate to the players. She played the game. She knows how to coach. She knows the X's and O's. She learned under one of the best coaches ever in Greg Popovich. So like she's definitely like capable of doing so. So she's going to get an opportunity, and like she's had those chances to like, coach in the G League and coach when Pop has been out, and like she's gotten those chances. So I think it's like I don't think what I said is true. I'm just putting it out there. Like, do you think that's like a part of it? How like some of these white coaches jump into the coaching industry before like when they're like 23?
I think we'll see it right now. Probably not this year, but you have two really good coordinators in D'Amico Ryans and then Byron Leftwich. And those are players that we saw play. So we'll be able to see if that road works. Because also John Lynch, my man's went straight from playing, chilling for a little bit, was like, GM position. So I think networking has some of it. Experience does too. And then minorities and women say it all the time. In sports, it is a boys club. So unless you're able to like get in, that's why look at what the Charlotte Hornets team is. Like, a lot of that is Michael Jordan's doing and what he can end up doing. But of course, even though people say this is wrong, Michael Jordan's decision-making with like Kwame Brown has affected other sports in terms of like, do we take that chance on them? Of course, Kwame's going to say he was a part of the 84 points that were scored between him and Kobe, which neither here nor there. But I do believe that as time goes on, it's a fight that has to happen, and kind of similar, but not really, like how Colin Kaepernick got out. So the difference is Colin Kaepernick did a lot more political wise. Brian Flores said, look, I'm going to just tell you how it is. I don't think he's going to be able to coach in the NFL. If he does get another opportunity, it's people doing reverse psychology and saying, well, we're going to be that team that ends up picking him because of what he did. He took a similar approach to Eric Reed. A lot of people remember Colin Kaepernick, but Eric Reed was like, look, I'm not going to go as far as you, Colin, but I'm going to end up making my stance.
Say my piece.
Yeah, say your piece. But I think Brian Flores is a great person for it. I just hope he just doesn't do like a whole media tour in terms of he was on ESPN, which is fine.
Bro, that's what it seemed like today, though.
Yeah, he was doing all that.
Rosa Parks wouldn't have done that.
No, she wouldn't. I know. But what I can say he's gonna. That's funny that his mic is still doing that. I do believe he's gonna get some sort of settlement, similar to like Colin Kaepernick, because they're never gonna. Same with like John Gruden and all of them. They're gonna give you the hush money. They're never gonna come out in public say, you know what, we were wrong. That tarnishes the whole reputation. So they end up doing like something on the side, and then Brian Flores will come out and say something. Nike or Adidas or Reebok or Puma or one of the brands will end up saying something. A cryptocurrency brand is going to come out and be like, let's sign something, make him a part of the spokesperson. He's going to get his money because the NFL will look out for him just so like they don't tarnish their shield in terms of everything. But we brought up that. The other thing I wanted to bring up in terms of shield is Odell Beckham and Matthew Stafford being in the Super Bowl and how they tried to keep them down in Cleveland and in Detroit. What are your thoughts? And we're not doing Super Bowl picks this week, everyone. We'll do it next week. But what are your thoughts on those two in particular?
I'm very happy for both of them. Primarily Matthew Stafford, because he was a part of a dog shit organization for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I feel like people don't know that he has crazy good numbers for his career. Now, he had Calvin Johnson for 9 years, or like, I don't know how many years it was, like 7 or 8 years or so that they were together, because I think Stafford came in after Calvin Johnson. But nonetheless, he had Calvin Johnson for a handful of those years. But like the Lions were trash, still are trash. So I'm very happy for him. I'm going to be rooting for the Rams in the Super Bowl because of that, because of Matthew Stafford. I want him to get a ring. Odell Beckham, I don't know why people wrote him off.
8 years.
8 years, okay. Like, I don't know why people wrote off Odell. Like, it was just because I think, like, he just had, he's a flamboyant player. Like, he does like the theatrics after the touchdowns, and he, would throw his helmet and do that kind of stuff. And like he got into it with a kicking net. And, it just like, unfortunately for some players, it just creates an image for them. And then he got shipped off to, I don't know why the Giants ever traded him, got shipped off to Cleveland with like, that sucked. That didn't go well. I think everyone thought that like him and Baker Mayfield were going to be, the next, Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, but obviously that didn't go well.
Really did. Yeah.
So, I think going into that situation, if he would have gone to another, like a equal or better opportunity, than the Giants, I think that his career would have continued and it would have, maybe gotten to this point of him going to the Super Bowl. But like the Browns are the Browns, as we've said, like they suck. And now Baker and like lately they've been getting better, but like nonetheless, I just feel like that was just a not a good career move. I mean, unfortunately, he probably had nothing, no choice about that. But came out to Cali, where it's nice and warm. Sean McVeigh, again, one of the best coaches in the league now. I mean, he's been in the Super Bowl twice in his 5 years in LA. So like he knew what he was getting with Odell, and he's still young, in the NFL world. So like the Giants win, or not Giants, the Rams went all in this year because they knew that they had pieces, but they need some other pieces. They got some pieces, and then got a couple more, and then got a couple more. And then Eric Weddle came in.
Eric Weddle said, "I'm coming."
Yeah, Eric Weddle. I don't know what the fuck he was doing before this, but like, shout out to him for just making that bread, getting that playoff check, bro. Yeah. That playoff check is going to be fat if they win the Super Bowl. It's going to be over $1 million. So good for him. Shout out to Eric Weddle, friend of the show. So there's like, good for Odell. Like if he wins Super Bowl, like good for him, dude. Like that's gonna be on his resume forever. Like you're not going to be able to take it away from him. So I'm happy for both those guys. More happy for Stafford because I was a fan of him in college. I lived him at Georgia, and he just went to a really shitty situation in Detroit. It was never going to get better. They were never going to go to the playoffs because it's Detroit. And now shout out to Jared Goff, who's just like sick.
I know. Jared Goff and AJ Green are sick.
Oh man, terrible situation for both those guys. But no, I'm happy for both those guys. They both deserve it. I mean, like, I've never had anything against Odell. Like, we've seen flamboyant and outgoing receivers and every other player. So like, it's not like he was the first one to ever be like that. Mm-hmm. He never seemed like a dick either. Like T.O. felt like a dick at times, like a douche. I mean, people can say otherwise about T.O., but like just like the way he came off as like me. No, sure, like there should be some level of that to a player because like you got to have confidence in yourself and you got to believe in yourself without being a douche. But I don't know what you think, but like I've never seen that from Odell, and like he's always been pretty transparent about things and pretty open and honest. And it just like now he's just happy going to the Super Bowl. I mean, I think whether he, obviously everyone wants to win, but like whether if he loses, I think he's proven like I'm still one of the best in the league if we're talking about that part of it. But like just overall, good for him. Like good for probably good for his mental health too. That he's in the situation. So yeah, good for him.
So a couple of things. One, Calvin Johnson played for the Detroit Lions for 8 years. He played with Matthew Stafford for 6 years. Matthew Stafford was the first pick in the 2009 draft. I'm happy for numerous people in this situation. I'm happy for Matthew Stafford because Detroit's some shit. I'm happy for Odell Beckham, more so happy for his dad because his dad was calling this out for a long time.
He's a real MVP.
He is real.
He is.
And this also puts the finger directly on Baker Mayfield. And I was processing it because it's similar to how it was in Philly when they said, all right, let's figure out if like Carson Wentz is a real deal or not. And you were clearly able to find that out. They shipped him off. And the Colts don't even know if they're going to keep him.
Get them picks, baby.
I know we got them picks, 3 first-round picks. As the draft comes up, we will talk about that. But Odell Beckham, all he's going to do if he wins, he's going to go flex his NFTs, and he's going to go be in a music video with Drake. Like, that's all he's really going to do. He's not going – the worst things that Odell Beckham has done is giving Justin Jefferson money at the college football championship. That's the worst thing he's really done, and kicked a net. That's really it. He hit the street. He hit lie for everybody when he caught that fingertip catch. And after that, it shot him up. He was great. And then they gave him Baker Mayfield, and it kind of shows you, just like Dad said, Baker Mayfield is not good. So it's one of those that we'll see about that. Jarvis Landry might not even be there come next year. I'm also happy. One, Eric Weddle's just a funny person. That man just said, I'm coming back out of 2-year retirement. His check is going to be nice. Odell Beckham's, they did say, is over $1 million too. He's been making money every single time they win. And it just shows you, I do feel bad for Robert Woods because a lot of people are forgetting about Robert Woods in this situation. And I don't think they would have Odell Beckham if Robert Woods was healthy the whole year.
Absolutely not. No.
And there would be no need. But I also can say, I don't think two things. I don't think that Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham, I do believe that Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham are much better than Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, but I don't know who they're going to keep next year. If they're going to keep Robert Woods or if they're going to keep Odell Beckham. And so that's something interesting. They're going to keep Van Jefferson. But that offense I'm happy for. Another thing is Von Miller. So shout out to Von Miller because he's making his money. Aaron Donald, if Aaron Donald wins a ring, every single picture of him flexing and stuff will be everywhere in the world. I can put that on everything. Jalen Ramsey is going to claim he is the best cornerback there is in the league too. So those are my big thoughts on that. We're going to do Super Bowl picks next week. The other big thing I wanted to bring it up before we talk about
losing
Mr.
each
Stevens.
other.
Huh?
All right, no, we're good. Sorry.
Before we go into
this has been a
Steph Curry,
funky episode. All right.
What are your thoughts on the Washington Commanders?
I don't even talk about it. I have no thoughts whatsoever. It's corny. I love that. It's just you had 2 years. You had 2 years to think of something else, and you didn't.
Yeah. It was going to be the Generals or the Commanders. I heard a lot of people saying a couple of weeks ago that it was more than likely going to be the Commanders. So they kept everything really the same. The black uniforms aren't bad. I kind of like them, but I'm not going to ever wear them. If you're in the area, by the time this recording comes out, February 4th, they're supposedly doing things at FedEx Field, like giveaways and stuff. A lot of this is just to hype everything up. So we'll end up seeing how that is. But the story Steven really wants to talk about is, please tell everybody about that $1,400 ticket to San Antonio Spurs game.
Okay. So I see this happen a lot. And if you're not familiar with the NBA and the way the players operate, it's very rare that the top players in the league play all 82 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, injuries happen. So that, take that out of consideration for this. Even if they're healthy, they might not play all 82 games because they know in the long run, the playoffs are what matters. And who cares about the regular season? The Lakers are an example. You and I are going to see the Lakers in March for my birthday. Shout out to them. But we're anticipating and expecting to see LeBron, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook. We're expecting to see their big three. Now, we as the sports fans, knowing how it operates, we know that there's a good chance that at least one of them doesn't play. And we know there's a good chance that potentially two of them, maybe even all three of them, again, take injuries out of consideration. There's a month and 3 weeks before this happens. So anything can happen between now and then. LeBron's out tonight against the Trailblazers. He's got a sore knee. So when they play a back-to-back, they play in Toronto, I think, before they play in DC that Saturday. So, but there's two sides of it. It's deep inside, being a LeBron fan and being just a basketball fan, I'm gonna be pissed, obviously. But it's I know that's gonna happen, but I'm still gonna be hyped to go to the game because it's a live sporting event. I love watching basketball, football, baseball, hockey. It doesn't matter. Live, it's great. I expect those things to happen, that those guys are going to sit out. Now, they might play. They should play because Lakers, who knows where they'll be at in the playoff race come that point.
Yeah.
But if they're trying to get back into it or gain some momentum heading into the playoffs, they'll play. But when we get there, there's a good chance that at least one of them isn't going to play. Hopefully it's not LeBron, but we'll see. Now, we didn't spend $1,400 on tickets. I would never ask that of my friends to spend 14. And my wife would kill me if I spent 14. Now, other than Penn State football related, if it's a national title ticket, then that's fine. There's one exception to me spending that kind of money on a ticket. But like we didn't spend 1,400 bones on tickets. The point of the story is this dude bought a ticket to go see the Spurs and the Warriors play. His son is a big Steph Curry fan. He said he's his hero. And spent 1,400 bones on tickets to go see Steph Curry play. Now, teams only come to cities once or twice a year. Okay. And this is the second time it's happened. This is the second time that he spent money to go see the Warriors play in San Antonio, and Steph Curry did not play. And so little Jimmy Lipper is very upset about that, right? Like, and then this dude, I'm gonna have to read you the tweet because like on one hand I get it because you want to see those dudes play, but it's like on the other hand, it's like there's nothing in their contract that says they have to play all 82 games.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know anything about sports, like especially the NBA, like you know that there's a good chance that they won't play. This tweet was, I know this guy who paid $1,400 for tickets so his kid could see his hero, Steph Curry. It's the second time Steph has come to San Antonio and didn't play. It's NBA reality. Like that's all you like. We can stop the tweet right there. Like, that's it. You don't need to say anything else. It's NBA reality, but it's wrong. Is it? It's not wrong. Like they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like they're like, this goes back to like the human element of athletes. They're all humans. If they don't want to play, they don't have to play. Like this isn't like the 90s. And then he said MJ played 14 full seasons, all 82 games, and nine of those seasons, and 81 in another. Good for you, Michael Jordan. Good for you, dude. Like, who cares? Like, that's so like, don't like, like, who cares? Like, you should still, like, the game isn't dependent on LeBron. As much as like LeBron is like the standard of basketball, the game isn't dependent on him. Like, you should be able, like, you can go still watch the game and enjoy the game and teach your kids like the game of basketball by going and watching it. Like, be a better parent and set better expectations for your kids, knowing that there's a chance, hey, little Jimmy, like, just so you know, I'm going to pay $1,400 for these tickets, by the way. I'm going to hold that over your head for the rest of your life.
Those must be courtside seats or
bro,
suites.
Come on. Like, you obviously have the money if you're going to, you're doing it twice. Twice? Okay. So you're okay. Yeah, exactly. Like, but know that there's a chance that they're not going to play. They don't have to play. The players they don't give two shits about. Okay. No, I have to rephrase this because I don't want to say this. Players always say like the fans are what makes the sport. Bro, they played in the pandemic with no fans. They played in a bubble with no fans. It shows
a lot, yeah.
And you know what? They got paid for that too. So like they don't need the fans. Sports like they don't need fans at the games. Now they need us to watch the game so they can generate more revenue on TV and everything and get those dollars, which is fine. I'm still gonna watch. But like they don't care. Like it's not a big deal. Like if LeBron plays, it's like, okay, well, that's one more game. That's one game I'm not playing. That's potentially one more game I get to play in the playoffs because I'm resting my body. Yeah. Now, guys like Kawhi who like sit out for like games at a time just for shits and giggles, that's maybe a little excessive, bro. Like, and then there's guys like Ben Simmons who just said, fuck it. Like, I'm done for life. Yeah. So like, that's different too. But like, if they're out because like if they've played like, you know, the NBA schedule is, bro, that is like 82 games.
82 games.
And you're flying city to city and you're playing, you know, 3 games in 4 nights. They play multiple back-to-backs. And like some of those games, like they might not get into the next city until like, you know, like random times. And like they got, you know, they might like, it just bodies break down throughout the season. It's just like, I'm not mad. Like deep down, I'd be mad if LeBron didn't play. But like, I know like, hey, that's cool. Like
it might
LeBron's not playing, fine. But like, we're still going to watch the game and I'm still going to watch the game and have fun with it. So like, be a better parent. Okay. And don't spend $1,400 on tickets. Just don't.
So all I'm gonna say on this topic, and then we can close it out, is I went to the Trailblazers and the Wizards game, and the best player on the court
And
was
no one played, bro.
none
No
of
one
them
played.
That's just an
They were picking people out of the crowd to come down and play for the game.
They were, yeah, because there was no Damian Lillard, there was no
Nope.
CJ McCollum,
Nope.
there was no Bradley Beal.
Nope.
The head coach for the Wizards wasn't even there that game because I think something happened. So,
but it's hoops though.
Exactly.
Like, and you're a hoops fan, so like, yeah, you obviously want to see those guys play because they're the best of the best. And how many chances in life are you really gonna get to see those guys? But it's like it's hoops, so you're gonna go watch it.
Yeah. So, the other best player was Anthony Simmons of the Trailblazers, just to give you guys all understanding.
Kuzma.
But yeah, Kuzma was there with his big old big red outfit. But what you got for everyone?
My daughter turns 5 this month, so that's a big deal for us. I never thought that I'd be in a million years 30 with a 5-year-old. So like, yeah, no one else did either. No one else in my circle did either. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. She turns 5 on the 17th. So the whole month is dedicated to her. And Mason turns 3 next month. So that's dope. But it's all her this month. So shout out to my daughter.
So I got 1, possibly 2 shout outs. I'm not going to say my job again. If you guys know where I work, you know where I work. So I just started I had trainings and stuff like that. And when I tell you this place is so different that I gained an appreciation for almost damn near getting rejected, I sent an email to my boss just saying, hey, like one of our reports that we have to do, like there was no records found in it. I just wanted to let you know, is there anything I need to do? The only thing she sent me back in the Microsoft Teams was 2 letters. Oh. That's it. That's all she said. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna just go to the next step in it. So I sent the email to everyone else. But that's when I realized this place is different than a lot of the places I work, because most times you'll have the bosses like bullshit or trying to find an answer. She straight up just said, oh, like that was all she had to say. So
now, compare it to Sports International real quick.
In terms of the place, 1,000 times better. Like I have people, like I tell them this all the time. There's people that will train you. Like I was working yesterday, 8 o'clock to 6:30, and there was somebody at like 6:15 that was like, let's jump on Teams right now so I can end up helping you with things. And I was like, damn, I promise you some of the people at Church that we used to be with, they would not be there. They'd be like, yo, we got to roll out in a Mercedes. Juan Dixon is around the corner. We got to go talk to him real quick. There would be none of this. Make sure you go do some signatures so you can end up giving out them footballs, to them different football camps. That's what it would be like there. But it's a very different feel at this place. So I definitely do appreciate it. And it challenges me too. So that's something else I do like about it. Said I might have 2, but I'm gonna just end with that one because I think about that still to this very minute, that they said, oh, I've never had anybody in my life that said, oh, like there was nothing. And I'm just thinking, all right, I asked a question. I didn't say a statement. So
I'm gonna hit you with that too sometimes when we text. It was good.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, okay.
So that's everything for this week. We'll be back next week. Steven has a quick slant, and I should be able to get back to more of the crypto videos. There's a lot of different ones that are out that I want you guys all to find out about, NFT stuff. But until next week, we out.
Peace.